What is up, crypto fam? I'm Coach K, and today we're going to look at market psychology. We're going to look at why are the traditional legacy markets pumping? It's a great question to ask. Where is the money coming from? Why are we not crashing? What is happening with crypto? Or are we following a normal market cycle? Today we're going to look at that, and I'm going to help you understand more on the fundamental side of what's actually happening and how I think about these things, and why emotion can be the biggest factor to get you to think crypto's dead. Let's get started. Okay, so we're looking at market psychology first today and trying to understand where are we at in the cycle. Today I posted a chart on Twitter and I'm going to share that as well today and my thoughts behind it. And we're going to also look at what's going on with the S&P 500. Why is it pumping? My thought process behind that, and where are crypto markets going? So it's not going to be a very long video as usual. So just stick around and hopefully you guys get some value out of it. My last video that I did and the shorts that I put on Twitter were literally perfectly timed for this dump. So hopefully some of you guys made money from that. And if it didn't help you, hopefully these videos will. Where are we at in the cycle is very easy for me to understand. We hit euphoria, but we hit it twice. We had this complacency level actually come into a double top. This is something that normally does not happen in the top of a market, but we had a low liquidity pump right back to basically all-time high, just a little bit higher, and then we started our anxiety, denial, panic, and capitulation phase. Where are we right now? So let me go into my own. I'm going to give you guys where we're at right now, depression, disbelief, etc. Here's where we're at in my perspective, okay? So I look at this and I go, okay, we had euphoria twice. We had euphoria here and euphoria here. This is almost like a fake out. Maybe the market should have came down and been done with it, but we all know that there were other factors. There was hype from Elon, there was hype from potentially Apple, etc. And everyone was super excited about it, so that's likely why it happened. Okay? We're also going to look at soon where the market cap, total market cap likely will come back down to, and you may want to hold your ball sack. It could be a little bit scary, but being scared and having fear is the number one reason why most people lose in crypto. So let me help you understand where we are in our cycle. So going to a euphoria phase, we got all the way up there. Everyone's like, oh man, this is the time it's going to happen. I personally didn't feel that way, but we had that euphoric phase, right? Then we had our nice downturn, right? We had 3 inside up, a 3 inside down. We had these little movements here. And then we topped out. We came back up, we hit the lip, and we came back down. And actually, if you guys are following me and you go back to my BLX charts, I literally drew this on there way back in the day. So you can see that I was drawing different factors like this one. Thought we would come from up down here, come up to here, likely break, this level wouldn't break. That was around 45. Let's go back to the other chart so you can just have a quick look. We were right around that same level, around 45. So this 45 level right around here, I thought right around here we would come back down. We went a little bit higher and then we dumped out. We went to 48K. I thought we'd go to 50K, potentially up to this level again, or even down to this level. We didn't get all the way up there. We started to reject and come down. So then comes the anxiety, denial, and panic phase. Now, if I go back to the market psychology, right, and we look at that, we look at anxiety, denial, panic. And we go back to mine and you see anxiety, denial, panic. So looking at the two, they're not too much different, right? Let me just make that even smaller so you get even better scope for you guys. But look at this, okay? So we compare this to this, anxiety, denial, panic, capitulation. So capitulation is that last big wick, right? It doesn't mean we're at the bottom, but capitulation means that people tried to get out of the market, right? So we saw that. Anxiety, denial, panic, capitulation, we came all the way down here. Then anger comes because we start coming higher and maybe we were wrong, right? So whereas anger is that first push back up, then it comes back down a little bit lower. Anger, we pushed back up, we came down lower and went to a depression. Personally, I think the depression wasn't that long, could have been longer, and maybe that is a factor we have to take in. But we may have had a depression even though we were coming back up into disbelief. So when we look at depression, it sometimes gets down a little lower, and then we start in depression, it starts to come higher, and then all of a sudden it sucker rallies, which is what we just had, our nice sucker rally, that disbelief of oh my God. Then we come back down. So what I'm expecting to happen in our market is for us to probably test that 18K low right down here to come and retest and spring us on the next cycle's top. So usually what we have happen is a little bit of a push. We come higher and higher and higher, and then you forget. You go all the way back to the other side, and it goes up, and then we have that like that COVID type wick. So I'm expecting that we would have potentially, there's two areas, right? We're looking at like 18K, but we're also looking at potentially like this level right here, this $21,000 level potentially could be also a low. So if you're someone looking to buy Bitcoin, you should be looking at those levels as potential buying areas to either put an alert on, which by pressing plus here, you can make an alert on TradingView, or just to keep your eyes on those levels or put some limit orders in at that level. That's what I do personally, but it's up to you guys. You have to do what works for you. So then what I'm thinking is September. Now I've told you guys, October, November, December, likely the time we start seeing the movement because our halving is in probably April. It could even be in March based off the hash rate lately. So that could happen. So I'm thinking by the time we start next year, we're likely going to start breaking above 30K, right? I don't think we even reach close to 60K until we break the halving. So likely in June, July, or August, we'll start seeing the real push. Kind of like we saw it from like January here on. Actually, sorry, what am I saying? Let me go back here. So kind of like when we saw it from, it was like May, June, July, and August, and October, right? I told you last cycle in October was likely when the bull market starts. And the reason why I said bull market is because I meant parabolic, right? And I said that on October 17th was the day that I said, I think the bull market's going to start. October 17th is right here. And if we look, we went on BTC about 450%. Went from 11K to 60, 65, 68, whatever it is, right? So that's pretty high up there. We did really well last cycle. I'm thinking we're going to have something similar happen here where we'll kind of go like, we'll go down, we'll come up, we'll come down, we'll come up, we'll come down a little bit, and then all of a sudden we'll start going parabolic. That's my expectation. But as we know, nothing is a guarantee, nothing is an absolute, and things will change based off technical analysis. But understanding market cycles is very important because they rhyme and repeat, and everyone will tell you this time is different. This time is different. This time is different. And I will continue to remind you that while everyone else was talking about super cycles, I was saying I didn't believe in them. I was saying we work on 4-year cycles. We go up for a year and a half. We go down for 2.5. We go up for a year and a half. We go down for 2.5. And as we know with Bitcoin, if we go back to this chart here and we go on to a weekly chart because it makes it easier to see everything, you can see that peak to trough, which peak is the top to the trough when it comes back down. It's never gone lower. It only goes higher Bitcoin because there's only so much finite supply in the world, right? We all know that. And as I was writing all the way up here, I said likely we're coming down to this 19K level potentially. So that's what I've been expecting the whole time. This was my thing from before we started dropping off on BTC. I said we're probably going to do something like this and go up to 140K, 150K. I don't believe these 250Ks are going to happen this cycle. Could happen, but always have lower expectations because it makes you happier when the market goes higher than your expected levels, right? So a couple things to factor in right now is why are these pumping? Why is the SPX 500 pumping? Why is the Dow Jones pumping almost to all-time highs? Why is this happening right now? Does it make any sense right now? The question is a very easy one to answer. It's simple. Now, if you think about it this way, it'll actually help you so much. Because the reason why the SPX and the Dow Jones are pumping is very simple if you just look at from a very logical point of view, a very commonsensical point of view. If you print trillions of dollars and you're someone who lost $100 million in your bank account in one of these bank things that have happened, or $10 million, and you had $10 million in the bank, and now you realize, wait a minute, money's not that safe in the bank. Maybe they don't believe in crypto because crypto market's not good right now. But stocks have always gone up in long term traditionally, right? And is it better to have your money in companies that people buy lots of products from? Or is it better to have your money in a bank which can lose all your money, and then every time they print more money, right? What happens is the money that you had that you lost that they printed more to give you it back is worth less. Your purchasing power drops. If they printed 10% more supply, right, into the United States fiat currency, right, it would be 10% less purchasing power. So you lose money. So people that realize this put their money into stocks and equities, because these things, even when the markets are shit and they come back down, will always go back up, because people will always put their money back into things that are sold and bought as a purchase, whether it's a product or a service. So when you ask yourself, why is this pumping? Why is SPX and YM just freaking mooning? The answer is actually quite simple. It's that there's more money in circulation, and as people have that cash flow, they're not going to want to put their money in a bank and trust a bank right now because it's sketchy. They're not going to want to put their money into crypto because either they don't understand it, or they just are really old school and it doesn't really make sense to them to do. Or the more common sensible thing is that the market's not doing well right now, so they feel like the average person should be probably putting capital into something down as an asset. But with the SEC FUD and all this other stuff, it's making people extremely fearful. And because of that fear, it makes it really hard for things to progress and get further along. So basically, to sum up the thought process, more liquidity in the markets means more money for stocks, means less money for banks after banks fail. So people put their money into assets. Will some of this money, I get a lot of this question, will some of that money go into Bitcoin? Well, let's look at Bitcoin so we can understand what we're thinking about. If most people are seeing the chart that I am, right, and we don't have any Ichimoku on here at all, we just using price action and levels, this is a level that has to hold. This 25K level has to hold, or we come back down to the level that I was thinking we would come to in the first place of 23,850. If that SR level doesn't hold, we're going to come back down to this level, 21, like I was saying earlier. And if that level doesn't hold, this is a nice level of support down here at 18 and 19K. That could be our double bottom, right? I do not think we're coming down to 15K. And anyone else who's telling you we're going to go to a newer low does not understand how market cycles work. We have already had that phase happen. We are now going to spring off the bottom, whether it be this level and we double bottom here at 20, or we double bottom here at 17.5, but we're likely going to hold this level right around here at 18.5, 18.9, okay? So that's the level we're looking at from that perspective, right? And now we look at total market cap, because people have been asking me, like, Coach, what's going on? Look, this long-term trend line that I've had on here for total market cap of crypto held like immensely. Held as a support level, diagonal support level, broke below, right? Even retested it right here. I think, no, wait, that's just the level. Didn't retest it. Oh, it did retest it. Broke below, retested it on this wick right here. And then, it's been using it as resistance ever since, right? It hasn't been able to break it. And then we broke down. So where's our next real level? We can go in here. We can see that we have this box, this liquidity box right here. So going back down to 853 billion is not out of the question. Losing another 140 billion of the market cap of crypto would not surprise me at all. That's total. That's with Bitcoin. Without Bitcoin, how badly have alts looked? We had a head and shoulders type of top right here. Head, left shoulder, right shoulder dump. This probably will come back and retest these lows. So we're looking at seeing alts lose a lot of value as well. We have this nice liquidity pocket down here, which likely will come back into play. Now, if we lose that, which I don't think we will because we haven't lost it all cycle, but if we did lose that, alts would come back to probably much lower levels. But to say with how much more money has been put in alts that we can factor it that it would come much, much lower is a lot less likely, I would say, unless the SEC does somehow prove that we are all securities. Then the whole market's pretty screwed over anyways. But again, people are trying to make you fearful. Ultimately, what we're seeing is pretty simple. We're seeing liquidity that's been printed out to save people's bank accounts. People are putting more of that money likely into the SPX. It's an election year. That's also another factor I didn't mention earlier. That's another reason why those markets are pumping. There's more liquidity in the markets because they created more, meaning there's more US dollar in circulation, meaning if you put it into things that are assets, they'll likely go up versus losing purchasing power and going down, which is why people invest in stocks and real estate in the first place, and also why we invest in crypto. Market psychology wise, I truly think we've already hit the bottom. Now we're just going down into summer, like I've been saying for almost since January 2022, when I said we're likely going to come up. We're going to do April, May. We're going to hit our top for alts, and then we're going to start a 12 to 18 month bear market. Right now, since that point, we're at about 12 months. 18 months was really where I thought, which would be the end of this year. That's the perfect timing. That's what I've been saying for 2 years almost straight. Looking at all the factors, it's very easy for everyone to understand that the market is doing exactly what it's programmed to do. TA tells me stuff, even if black swan events happen, I'm already usually on the right side because I understand the technical analysis. Do yourself a service. Start to learn these basics. You don't need to be a pro trader, but learn the basics so you can grow slowly over time. And if you start getting pretty decent at it, you'll start realizing when you should exit and enter yourself. You shouldn't always wait for a YouTuber to tell you or a Twitter guy to tell you, because most of them suck and don't know exactly what they're doing. And I can speak from my own experience why I learned how to trade myself at a really high level is because other people I realized were full of crap. And I was wasting precious energy and time on it. And it was like, it didn't really make a lot of sense for me to do so. I hope you guys have a great day and this video was really informative. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell. Definitely show some support to the crypto community. Crypto is not dead. It will not die. And all the people saying crypto's dead and it's over, I love hearing that. And so should you if you're an OG in this space, because the reality is we're likely going to see a lot more people make emotional decisions and get wrecked because they're scared. Don't be someone who gets wrecked because you're scared. If you need to sell off because you don't have money, if you see the project has problems, if you think there's a lot of dilution coming, that's one thing. The real thing you should focus on is what projects are valuable, which ones are likely going to do well in the next cycle, have a 2-year mindset, 3-year mindset, right? And let the market come to you. Set the levels, and let it happen on its own. Okay, guys? Thank you so much. I'm Coach K. See you guys soon. Much love.
Fat kiddo, fat kiddo, huge fat kiddo.